Good to see you guys. This is for all you folks who couldn't make it. We've got all the cool people here. Elisa, Carol, Kimmykins, Amy. And so we've got actually some pretty neat stuff to share about some things that are happening online. I wanted to share this with you. There's actually two things to share. You guys remember Hernan from Paraguay who came and visited? Because you didn't shut up about all of the translation stuff. And when we did our Big Rocks, we're like, okay, let's figure out, it'd be better to do partnerships with internationally than it would be to try to figure out simultaneous closed captioning in every single language that no one's ever really figured out well yet.
Yeah.
I got this call from my boss.
You should take it.
Yeah, I should take it. Hello. Hey, how's it going?
Tell him I said you could.
Yes. Yeah, we had about 4 of the 8 virtual machines just hit the pause button. For reasons we're not completely sure, I think it may have been triggered by a backup routine. And in doing so, some of the services for servers were up and some were not. And that's why we had kind of a weird sort of internet and that sort of thing. But in order to get them all back online, we had to actually reboot the host virtual machine that houses all of the other sub-virtual machines. And yeah, and so in order to do that, it takes a while for that to propagate out on the network. So basically, that's what happened. I've already talked with Ryan about, maybe some kind of contingency plan for maybe certain kinds of servers in a different space, the mission critical ones. And we're still kind of working that one out. This was really rare, never happened before kind of a deal. So no, I don't think so. He's still working on, was it what triggered the snapshot thing inside Microsoft? He's trying to figure that out. And when he was looking through it, everybody just told him, if you got to get back up, you got to reboot the host. And that's what we ended up having to do. So right now, he's kind of doing a postmortem as to what actually happened.
2 messages.
Sure. Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, just if you do that, and we definitely can do that. Oh. Okay. No, that does. I'll have to, work through that. Seeing if that would be part of like the job description or 6:30 in the morning. This is what you do. You ping this, you ping that, you ping this. Pick something up and go back to bed. Right. Right.
That's scary. Does she need to
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Bye. So yeah, we did have issues today. All right, so
So we've been reporting the whole time.
that's all right.
Okay.
Technical difficulties. This is what happens.
Welcome to our world.
Right. Of all the times to go down, it comes this. It's never happened before, and it chooses to screw up Sunday morning.
Of course.
It wasn't the online thing that screwed up, it was something else.
Right. It was something else. It was like here, the internet connectivity here,
Oh.
as well as different types of servers that we depend on, like kid check-in and that sort of thing,
Ooh.
went down.
Mm-hmm.
And so it could have, the crazy thing is it could have actually affected us online, but it didn't, because of the way that Jared has it configured. It's all kind of manually, all numbers, IPs are manually done, so it doesn't depend on the servers to tell it what to do and how to route traffic. It just does its thing. And so it didn't really affect anyone outside of Westside. If you were here on site, you couldn't get online to see if the online campus was working or not.
That's why.
But if you were off-site, it was fine.
Nope. I mean, that was the first time that I clicked into online that there hasn't been issues. So I said, yay, they've got it fixed.
Right. All right, so anyway, back to the Ernan thing. Ernan's been doing great. And I have one of the folks that I know that is kind of in the church that's getting started there. And I'm just going to try to translate this directly because he wrote it to me in Spanish. So, hi Jason, we are very excited about the project that Hernan shared with us. Today we were in a high school and it was amazing. Even the director told us that we were sent by God. And that's exactly what we were reading in our book and the book said that you are sent. This Wednesday at 4:30, we will have another activity with the entire school and their parents will be present too. Pray for us. Pray that God will guide you in how we can put together a strategy to do follow-up for the students because we have a tremendous opportunity. And I said, that's amazing. God is awesome. And then he sent me a photo and said, look at how they're receiving the message of the gospel. This was this morning in Loma Pica, which is one of the, it's like a suburb of Asuncion, the capital city. But anyway, you can see all of the kids and the parents and that sort of thing raising their hands to accept Jesus. It was pretty cool.
This is all because Mom drove it.
Mom did not throw it. Mom expressed the need. Mom shared the plan, a vision. We need people. So how does this correlate then with our online campus? Then we can direct people that are on the online campus to these people for a connection in their
Right.
country.
If we have anybody that's in Paraguay, we can send them Hernan's way.
Okay.
And of course, Hernan is using the online stuff that we provide
Okay.
as material, and he's doing a little bit of translation
Cool.
of some of our core DNA sort of things, like get connected, get grounded, get charged. That's that core material. He's translating into Spanish to use. Disciples made, followers made, that kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool. And then the other one I wanted to share, since Jolene isn't here, and she can't share it anyway, I'm going to read the message that she sent to me, and I don't think she's going to mind. She'll probably see this later. She writes, "Hey Jason, just wanted to thank you again for helping me find my gifts several years back when you first welcomed me to Westside and allowing me to become a volunteer. it's so great when I can help others now. I just got this personal message from someone in the practitioners group. Those of you who don't know, I think some of you guys are in it. It's the
Yes.
online practitioners group. It's a Facebook group of people that do online ministry
Oh, yeah.
all around.
Oh, that, yeah.
Well, Jolene, she's pretty active in there, and she
She
helps
is.
people, with online groups and that sort of thing. And so she said, just got this personal message from someone in the practitioners group. Hey, Jolene, just wanted to tell you thank you for helping me see how you do small groups online. We just had our first meeting tonight, and it went really well. This format is working great. We even had some hangout time afterwards when we just chatted about things. So thank you for letting God use you. And then she says, so many things make it worth it for me when I know I'm helping other people to do the work of being Jesus' hands and feet. It just makes my heart feel so good. I feel like I have some purpose on this earth for God. That was really cool. So
Like Jolene.
one of the things I wanted you guys to know was that the multiplying effect of what you do is, it's like we help Jolene, Jolene helps all these other people who are online, and they help all these other people. It's kind of like that in through beyond thing that we've been talking about in our series. The same thing with their none. I'm not here. The funny thing is I'm not hearing necessarily from this team, but I'm hearing from the people that this team is impacting. And I'm also hearing from who they're impacting even, like 2 or 3
Generations.
people removed
Yeah.
from this team. And so what happens sometimes is we do work in and out, and there are things that bug us, like this morning. It's just like, why doesn't this work? And all this stuff that happens. And, we work and we try, and sometimes it's really easy to kind of focus in on all the work you have to do, and you don't get to see the big picture sometimes. And it's like that proverb that says, where there is no ox, the stall is clean. But there is much work that can be done with ox. So the idea is that if you're going to really, really get work done, you're always going to have a mess, no matter what. And, we deal with that, because we're really trying to do something. And so there are times when the servers go down, or there are times when the platform gets wonky, or slides don't push correctly, or someone who said they were going to show up volunteer, they don't. And so you're having to sub and do 2 jobs instead of 1. But that's just life. That's what we do. And so I always take those moments as, these extra challenges that God gives us, kind of like the end of the level boss that you got to beat. What can stop us now?
That's right.
Because really, with all the stuff that happened even this morning,
What
church.
happened this morning?
Oh, we had servers taken up here.
So it was only affecting here, not if you're outside the campus.
Okay.
So,
It didn't affect the online service.
Right.
Going out.
Thankfully.
Only if you were in here could you not see it.
right. And that affected the Speedway too, because it's all kind of the same network now. So I know that they were having problems with Kid Check-In this morning, just like they were having problems here with Kid Check-In because it's all one network.
That complicates things.
Yeah. So anyway.
Because kids are so patient.
Oh yeah, they are amazingly patient, and so are the parents.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's the parents with those little kids. Kids don't mind. They're just,
And I was like, I want to go to my service.
please, let me give them away, please.
Totally.
Take my child.
So, what the stuff that I'm hearing now is more stories about not necessarily directly from you guys, but from the people that you're in touch with. That.
So what you're saying is we aren't useless. We've actually just taken the next level.
Every time, it's funny every time you invest in like leaders and you're helping other people do their gifts, the only downside of that is that sometimes you get less time with that first time person who doesn't know anything and show up, and that, because it's always a lot of fun to help those people. It is so much fun. And when you're leading leaders, if you're like one and sometimes 2 steps removed from all of that, really cool stuff that God is doing. And you just need to be reminded that it does happen. There is stuff going in through and beyond what you guys do that is just unreal. And you just got to keep reminding yourself and see these little, little indications. And you just look at that, and then you just multiply that times all of the numbers that come in, and you can see the multiplying effort that you guys do. So when there's like 20,000 a week to show up to the online campus, that we don't, a lot of times, it feels like just an empty number because we don't get to see everything or see all the stories of what God is doing out there, but He is. And sometimes they tell us. Most of the time they don't. But that's okay.
And just to think back what it was when we first began.
Well, yeah.
When we had, just the 1 or 2, 3, 4 services, and then, and then you pop on down, you're like, you can see it anytime you want. It's all over the place, and it's
Pretty much.
awesome and amazing, and
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
totally sweet.
So there's actually a couple of things that I wanted to discuss that was similar to that phenomenon that you're talking about. Do you guys remember, did you remember Jay Caranda when you were in Dallas?
I don't know.
No, probably not.
If I saw space, probably.
He is the online campus pastor over at Saddleback.
Mhm.
And he and DJ Schwam did an interview, and I posted it on the online Facebook group that we have. He talked about how he actually has more services. He's working out a way to do more services than there are hours in the day. So they overlap. And he's figured out a way to do this overlap thing. And he said basically, they're doing all this work. And that's one of the things that I'm noticing too with this is that we have almost every hour filled during the week with something. And it's not all the same thing. And that's great. And I wonder sometimes if it would make more sense, since we don't have chat on anyway. I wonder sometimes if it would make more sense for us to have just, I don't know, maybe have one service that lasts for 24 hours and have it be just like basically an on-demand thing.
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
On-demand with asynchronous chat.
Like, so when I go to my
I don't know if I'm probably not explaining
when I
this
go
one.
to my cable box, and it says on-demand movie, I can pick it up at any time. I just
Mhm.
push it on,
Right.
and it's there. And it
Here's-
just keeps replaying over and over again. Is that what you're saying?
No.
No.
Let's play it once. Here's why I'm thinking about it in this way now. Because the reason why we didn't want to go there with an on-demand system is because your chat would be asynchronous. If you pop in 5 minutes later than you do, well, then you're commenting about something that, then you're giving spoilers to the other person. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of the reasons why doing it live and having like this online community thing happen, requiring it to be synchronous. And that's one of the big reasons why we just did live for the longest time, for 2 or 3 years. But now we're switching into SimLive, and we're turning off chat because we don't have volunteers to do all of the services. And sometimes Jolene pops in and she'll do one, which is great. And Alan's thinking about doing that sometimes.
Is there activity when Jolene clicks in?
Yeah, there's activity when pretty much any time you click in, there's at least half a dozen folks in there,
Really?
And so I'm not looking from an analytics side, I'm looking from the platform side of things. And I can remember back in the day when the 5 o'clock service was a lot like that, 2 or 3 years ago. Where it was just like 12 people or whatever. Now that is happening at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesday. So Jolene is going in there and turning on the chat when she's in there, and she's doing her thing. It's an online campus thing. Because now she can, whenever. So she hasn't gotten a ton of response from folks in the chat, which if there's only 12 people, you could totally understand. With like a 10% chatter type of activity, which would be normal, you're talking 1%. In most cases, it's probably just going to be Jolene, you know. And so I can totally get that. But what it does is it's making me wonder now if synchronous chat is all that important, especially now that you guys do, like your Facebook groups and stuff are asynchronous. By that I mean, when you guys post stuff and then you comment on it at random times, you're not necessarily together, but you are on the same topic and you do follow that thread as it goes. And I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. I haven't dialed into it. Just kind of praying about it, trying to figure out, okay, if God is leading us this direction to totally go asynchronous, where we could just make it all on demand, and I could link it up between our web page, since it's all asynchronous anyway, it doesn't matter, and the Church Online platform, and let it be just, you know, picture. What do you guys think? I kind of want to talk to Jay down in Dallas with that ministry to see how he's doing it and see what kind of results he's getting.
So we wouldn't have live services on Sunday.
No, we would.
We'd still
We
do that?
would. Yeah, we still do that.
Okay,
Because I think there's a big value there for folks.
definitely. Okay,
Regardless.
that's what I was asking, double checking. Because those who can't make it for one reason or another are, I can go online.
Mhm.
And that's
Right.
a plug-in for that.
Right.
Which is, praise God, they want to.
And then the other thing that I'm kind of toying around with, and these are ideas that we may not execute on for years. So, you know, how long have I been talking about semi? It took me like years to get
Yeah.
done. So the idea of having content that is shorter and more geared toward the online audience during the week, kind of like the church flexibility, maybe doing that every week. We have to do that. It's just a matter of, do I want to knuckle down and actually do it?
Because the shorter online thing would be what? Would be just, I'm confused. Would it just be the,
Well, generally, online video has anything over about 15 minutes, you have to have some really compelling content. You have to make it like a movie story in order for it to stick. In the way that the format that we're doing it, kind of a talking head, doesn't lend itself toward that. Or like a speaker on stage doesn't lend itself toward that. And the analytics that we get show that people generally within the first, well, I mean, if they're clicking on a porn ad and they show up, it's like they've got 30 seconds or less and they're out. For the most part, unless, you know, we draw them in. And sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. You know, I feel like even if, because I paid for that ad, even if I distract somebody from doing something self-destructive for 30 seconds, that's a win. Worst case scenario.
It's 1 o'clock.
Let alone the opportunity that we have to really help these people. So I see it as a total win all around. But the average, I'm getting numbers in that, you know, most people stick around for about 15 minutes and then they drop off. So in my mind, it's like, all right, we have a 1 hour service. If we made it 15 minutes, would it be stickier for people?
okay.
And then if we wanted to do that sim live, we could run 4 an hour, you know, and make it synchronous if we wanted to. That would be
So are
kind
you
of
thinking
crazy.
like you're gonna edit the sermons then?
Huh?
Are you gonna edit the sermons
Well,
then?
that's one of the options. One of the options is to edit the sermon. Another option is to edit the worship. Or the other third option could be we create a totally separate program just for the online campus altogether. You see what I mean? But only make it 15 minutes long.
Right.
So
And
kind of more like a YouTube style like church service type thing, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So like we would just have like, or just like take the normal service and edit it some way.
Well, and I'm portraying it back to, I love T.D. Jakes, and I watch him, and he has just, I mean, he's got his little commercials here and there,
Right.
but he's got about 15, 20 minutes of content. And, you know, the same thing with James Robinson on Live Today. First 15 minutes is content, next 15 minutes asking for money. And so I turned off.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that is. Right.
Because I know where I can give when I get ready to give. I don't need to watch it every week. And no offense. But so that's what I guess I'm picturing is because I know that with the TD stuff, you can watch it 2 days in a row and you may hear part of the same sermon and then it goes on deeper into the next 15 minutes.
Right.
And then the next week you're hearing the back portion and then you hear
Right.
15 minutes more. So yeah. So.
I'll have to
Does that
talk
make
with
sense?
Jason Caston because he's the guy who's at the ministry conference too.
Mhm.
He's the one who does all of that stuff for TDJs.
Mhm.
I'll have to ask him how he plans that out.
Yeah, because it's pieced together. You can
It's
tell.
edited.
But yeah, because his sermons are like an hour long.
Mm-hmm.
So he's taking bits and pieces of the best stuff.
Mhm.
And then, but I feel like it's like, this is his hour long, and I feel like he does this chunk, and then he halfway through this chunk, and
I
then
would
halfway through this chunk, and then
Press
through
the
that.
pause button. Is that your actual song?
And then I was getting into this, and all of a sudden it's bringing in the Sunday services.
Yeah, because we're all Sunlight now.
Yeah.
And it hit 1 o'clock and fired off.
Would it be beneficial for us to have a on-demand, just the music section, and then a on-demand, the sermon content section?
Hmm.
So, or, I mean,
Just do like
it would be
what's
like
on the
producing
beginning.
your own little bitty TV show.
Back to the 15-minute to 20-minute, that's about the time difference too.
No,
That's
you're
not,
good.
that's not for a college student or high school student where they're gonna check out
Mhm.
anyway.
Yeah,
even
totally.
here.
Okay, yeah.
Even
Oh, I
here,
totally
where
understand
they're
that.
like, yeah, I'm out. So that would be a great way to pull in.
Well, that's the
the
issue
other
with
book.
like 6-hour classes.
Yeah.
And then like the teacher lectures for like an hour and 15 minutes.
And by the time you're like, yeah, I'm done.
Well, you know, it's about a minute age. About a minute for every year they are old. So, 19 years old, about 19 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what we do in children's ministry. 5-year-olds, you got 5 minutes. Then you got to change something every 5 minutes. Or, if they're 7 years old, it's every 7 minutes you need to be changing something. So, and you can average
And the
15.
9-year-olds just sleep.
pretty much. Or they can't hear you anyway.
Right.
Because they're deaf.
Do you think that we've exhausted everything that we could do with what we have right now?
There's only, if we do a 1-hour service, there's only so many hours in the day.
Mhm.
If we choose to do it on the hour, synchronized. If we don't change anything, like what you just asked, the only thing where I could see that we could grow in with our current configuration is to try to figure out, okay, how do we get volunteer teams for every single time slot? And that would take,
Well, we're not even getting enough volunteers for our live chat.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and
how
that's
do we
what I
make
don't,
that experience better? I mean, if we're not reaching out to people who are right now coming online because we don't have enough volunteers to do that, how will we grow enough to be able to handle all the other periods?
well, I think there's two answers to that because there's different layers to that question. One is, how can we make our experience better? And that can happen independently of whether or not we have a full crew of volunteers or not. Now, of course, it always helps, don't get me wrong. I think that, there is some training for the online leadership page that I did that includes some other churches that might help in that. So why don't you let me see if I can find some of those materials and maybe post them onto the Facebook group. And that way you guys can get trained on different ways of engaging people while they're online. I think some of the things that Elisa had recommended was really good about repeating the notes. That's helpful in the chat. One of the things is, though, is that what I'm seeing is the vast majority of people, they'll just full screen the video. So as much as we can do, like 80% of the people that are online, they don't even see the effort that we're doing.
The chat.
The chat, they don't see the chat because
Well,
they're
the
full
only thing
screen.
I'm like this morning, I came on late and I saw that there'd been a prayer request. She'd had to turn hers off because she was handling slides. She was handling, you know, she was the only person at 8:30. And so when I came on and saw that, then I jumped in. And by that time, whoever's requesting the prayer was gone. That's what I'm saying. I mean, right now.
Normally just me and Jolene, and she's gone.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But would we want to put prayer request as a priority over the notes or the slides or the chat box? If you're, let's say, if we
There's
only
only
have
one
one
person.
person on the thing, at that moment, does the one person need to say, okay, prayer comes first, forget the slides, forget
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
forget the,
I didn't know, because normally,
yeah.
I'm actually on, I'm just there because.
So maybe there needs to be some
That's
training
not even
there.
the
What
time
would
I
I
really
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 like to
want?
work.
Yeah,
Right?
she
She
doesn't
doesn't
usually
like to do it.
Yeah.
I just started coming on at 8:30 because Jolene said she was there by
She's
herself.
been by herself.
Right.
She told me quite a bit. So,
8:30's always been
there's-
really hard.
Yeah.
No matter.
and you guys were running around with all the tech problems. So,
Exactly.
you know, that's what I'm saying. Before we think about branching out, maybe we better figure out what we're going to do on Sundays when people are putting it in.
I wish there was some way remotely we could, even if we weren't on like the actual service, we would get a ding on our phones or something when a prayer request came and needed to be taken care of. Like, yeah, I can do it. Okay, what can I do for you today? How can I help you? I can pray. Okay.
There's actually some stuff like that that's probably, it's coming. You know, I'm working toward that with the Church Online folks to do like a second screen sort of thing.
Just where we get
Because there's
notified.
Yeah,
sometimes
it's
that
just
I
the
just want to
right-hand
go
rail.
back and check to just
That's
make
it.
sure everything's covered on like certain things, like just so I can pull out and make sure that everyone showed up correctly. Because there's people on schedule,
Mhm.
and so I just want to know like if they're actually showing up for that service that I've scheduled them.
Okay. Well, we can do that now. There's enough of us here. I can tell you who shows up and who doesn't. That's easy.
And then the people who just come.
I show up when called for an emergency now. Because I'm still trying to do over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been
And I
scheduled
think
all
that it
summer, but I
oh, yeah.
popped in once in a while when there's.
So I think that would be nice to figure out, okay, who's actually, because not everyone responds to their.
Yeah, I'm there for responding.
Fine. That's
But-
not an issue.
but I'm
I never
there.
respond.
I never respond the whole time they were so
Okay, responding.
I'm like, they know I'm there. I am not
Girl
responding.
totally knows.
I had to put my the scheduling is not for me. I'm getting really mad at people.
It's hard not to hold grudges towards people during scheduling.
Just said, you know
it's
what,
hard to let it
folks?
go.
Either you're going to be part of this or you're not. And I got to
Well,
not be part of
And the bigger picture there is they're not answering you, they're answering God.
Mhm.
So that's between them and God. And if they don't show up, then
Which is
that's-
all well and fine, but if we have somebody who's logging in and expecting to
See,
have
and I
someone
appreciate that.
pray with them, respond to them, then you have an obligation beyond God.
I understand, but God knows, and He, like the other day, talking about an obligation to respond to people and be there for them. I was in the middle of a meeting. I had somebody who I've been discipling call me on the phone. I was in the middle of a mom's thing. So I push pause. I send her a voicemail because I can only do one thing at a time. I call her back about 30 minutes later, say, hey, I was in the middle of something. What'd you need? You know, didn't get her. Got a voicemail, so I left a voicemail. A week later, she calls me and said, just want to let you know, I didn't forget to call you back. I just realized I didn't need to do that right then. So it was just good that you didn't pick up. So I think sometimes God has that, ordained is if she would have talked to me when she talked to me, it wouldn't have been a pleasant thing. It wasn't the right thing for her to do. And she got the direction that she needed by me not talking to her. And so God can use other things besides us. And actually, when we don't show up, sometimes it spreads it out for God to do other things with other people.
Now that is a truly optimistic, the glass is full outlook.
Well,
But when I think,
no, I God to know He's bigger than me. me.
Oh,
He
and
figured
trust me,
out
I don't doubt God, but when I think about some of the people that I've worked
Glenn.
with online, like
Glenn,
Carol
Justin,
Markle, if I had not tapped into her that Sunday when she needed prayer for her son,
just needed.
I mean, she has come so far. She's been baptized, her son's been baptized.
here's the big-
If there's not a connection, if we don't
So we
have
just need
somebody
to
who's
remove
there,
from
Yeah,
that.
but that's the connect, and I'm not using that for an excuse, but I'm saying we can't worry ourselves if we're doing our very best. We have to trust that God's going to take care of the rest of the people on this team that are going to do their very best.
Amen. That was my
And-
thought today. I was like, well, God, it's just me. And then you showed up. So I was like, please, God,
That's right.
God,
You don't know how many times that has happened.
and so we got to trust that
when
God.
Jolene's gonna be gone, I'll try and come in there. I just think we have to. We have got to work harder on getting volunteers.
I'm not denying that at all. But I'm confident that God is big enough to take care of what we're doing right now and what He wants to see us do. Do we need more volunteers? Absolutely. Can we always use more volunteers? We always will. 80%, 20% of the people are going to do 80% of the work. That's true. You don't got to worry about it.
well, my son will
But-
be helping out, but today he said, paying practice.
And things happen, but to make it you know why my family served in this church so well here? Is because we were loved on. We weren't looked upon like, you're not going to be here? You can't make it? Oh my goodness, what are we going to do without you? No, it was you got to go do that, have fun, do your thing. And I was like, oh shoot, I need to come back there and help them then. Because and so because I've been that leader who has looked at them and said, in other churches, and said, you're not going to be here? What? We can't do this without you. What are you doing? You're a loser. There was my little religiosity side. He's gotten I'm done with that. But you got to trust God. He's got this. He knew this was going to happen. He knew
I
this little
trust
people
him.
was going to bump in. It's going to be
Here's
okay.
the thing I have the problem with. We've been doing this for 2 years, and we have pretty much the same 4 people that I've been involved in. And you guys were here long before I was. In 2 years, we aren't able to get, well,
We do, we just
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
cycle in and cycle out, just depending on what's happening in their life. And
You said it. Core.
We have two
Core
meetings
days.
at 5 o'clock.
the pictures, right?
Yeah.
I knew it was Kay. I didn't. We have 2 new people at 5 o'clock. So I mean, there are people that are stepping up. I guess my question is, how do we lock those people in? I mean, I don't want to like. I'm not going anywhere.
You know what I'd like to see? I think to help us expand, first off, I'd like to see it somehow advertised in the community, either online and or from the platform, that you can always volunteer with the online chat.
Because that's how you guys got me. It was an insert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in the bulletin. That's how
Number
I started.
2, I think we need a step-by-step how to be involved in the online campus, and I know we've been there, and maybe you're even deeper than what I'm aware of, so let me know. But like you've got the get connected, the get charged, whatever we have, all the steps that we have for church here. If we had little steps for that for the online campus, to say,
Like the
okay,
pamphlet.
well, or
Kind
like
of
a
little.
little video. Okay, you're going to be a chat artist today, and I know we have a few of those. I know we started something like that.
Yeah, I just made 2 more.
Yeah, okay. And so, and I don't know where all this is going, and you probably already have it in place, and it's wonderful. So you can just say delete. But yeah, so what is the step? Because I know Amy connects with people when they first mention that they want to be online, and she sends them something, invitation, and talks to them a little bit. Then where do they go from there once they show up, or if they haven't showed up one time? How does that step-by-step process work?
Well, right now,
Because we core people never went through it.
no, and that's part of it. That's part of it too. Because when you say, oh, let's just make an announcement, well, you're only hitting 5,000 of the larger group is the group that's out there.
Oh,
not
I
the
know.
group that's in-
I know.
And the group that's in here has so much competition. Competition isn't the right word, but there's so many opportunities inside here, on site, that there's a lot of noise that way. And it's tough to penetrate that. It's not impossible, and every little bit helps.
Right.
All that's true. But I think the bigger opportunity is figuring out ways of during the message itself is to recruit volunteers
That are outside.
that are outside but are consistent
On here.
online, like Pat, for example.
Right.
Well, but Jolene is our perfect little
Those
example.
people,
Yeah, she started.
right, and that's how.
Yeah,
I
we need
think
more
that's the
Jolenes.
opportunity, right? The opportunity
We need to
is for the
multiply
folks that
Jolenes.
are out there, not necessarily the folks that are here who are recruiting. And the recruiting that happens is all of our jobs, not just me.
See, I got two that are online that I know on a regular basis. I'm like, you need to help. You need to help online. You need to help online. So,
Well, and going back to like their little welcome email, it's like welcoming them, getting their because like everyone has like a username, and so like if you go in regularly, you just have like the level username, like you don't get like all the special volunteer stuff,
Right.
and so we have to get that username, then move them into the system and put them into the My West side. So if they never contact us after we send them their little welcome email, we can't.
but if they do contact you, what's the next step?
Then we put them into the volunteer area.
And then what level? And then whatever
They start
level they're
out-
interested, chat.
They usually start off, it's slide ruler,
Slide
just,
ruler, okay.
that's like the filter,
Yeah.
because if you can't slide rule,
So how do you train them? Is there a training video for
there's
them?
a training
We
video.
send it to them and they shine up and say, here, if you'd like to do this, let us
Training video.
Yeah, I just made it this past week.
Oh, okay. Well, I was like, of course I haven't gotten it. It's made best
Okay, so what the ultimate goal is then, Jason, maybe I'm reading into this, but what I see as your ultimate goal is that we'll have the training video, so we'll say, here, if you'd like to, well, check out this video, see if you'd like to participate in this ministry. If not, let us know. Or do this for a little while, and if you'd like to do more, let us
Right.
know.
Most of the time
Yeah.
they say, I want to be prayer ninja. And I'm like, you're not going to be prayer ninja.
Right,
Now, right now you're not,
right,
you know, because I know who you are,
right, exactly,
you know.
exactly.
So it's one of those deals
That's
where
ambitious to come in wanting to do that. I didn't want to do that.
I think that's all I did for a while. I was like, I was like, what do we do? What's this other stuff? I don't know. I don't know how to talk. Chat and pray. God's using my gifting. Anyway.
What about
Yeah,
our
but-
high school students? Their technology, I mean, it's a technology-based world for them. They're like the perfect little group to start working on online ministry.
Well, we've had Ryan and we've had your son. They-
yeah, Brian and Isaac and
Um,
Justin.
Justin, yeah.
They've
Well, you know, if
been
each
in and
one of
out.
us would just multiply ourselves one time.
That's it.
If each one of us, God has put in our paths at least one person for every one of us to go to and say, hey, I think you would be awesome at that. Because more than anything, just an announcement isn't necessarily, granted, some of us will come, but how much more will you be willing to do it, especially for something of this magnitude? And if someone comes to you and says, hey, I think you would be awesome at this, would you help us? And especially someone that we've discipled and mentored. And then they're going
So
to
look
be,
at that little funny girl feeling.
yeah. and that goes back to the for us, especially when we're mentoring someone or discipling someone, then they're like, wow, she thinks I can do that. Wow, really? I can do. Oh my goodness, I would be. Yeah, this is my whole little. That's a whole other story. But yeah, because they're like, wow, because they don't yet see the value completely in themselves. And then when they see the value in themselves, then they'll do the same thing that we're doing. That's just I mean, that's what we gotta do. I mean, we can't just sit here and say,
Yeah, just
Jason,
like-
why haven't you done this?
Right.
Every one of us has somebody in our sphere of influence that we can say, hey, come along with me. I mean, it's what we say in Greensburg. You've got somebody behind you, you got somebody ahead of you. Somebody heavy pulling you along, you've got somebody's hand and you're bringing them with you. And that's what we're doing. And that's what we need to do in our leadership as far as discipling these guys.
Well, getting volunteers is like selling. In the world of marketing, you have to make a contact 9 times for someone to decide that it's really of value to them. 9 times a person has to be touched before they really start thinking this is something of value to me that I need to get used to. So if we're putting something on the Facebook page or we're putting something in the bulletin, When was the last time anything got in the bulletin about serving online?
Oh, it's been months, but when we do it, the response hasn't.
Yeah.
We don't get response from it either. So it's
I
difficult for
came
me.
from the bulletin.
Well, in the beginning it was different.
What changed, do you think?
I'm not sure. I think that people, there was part of it is if you have something that's new, some people just want to hook on to something that's new. And sometimes I'm not really sure because it's the basic same ad wasn't like anything really changed.
Who was your partner back then?
Nick,
Nick really worked hard, I felt, at making me feel like I should be part of the group. So I guess maybe all of us volunteers just need to reach out harder to people on that are coming
like
online.
Nick did with you.
Yeah, because,
Okay,
I mean,
gotcha.
he really, I took the time to really make me feel like I would be an important part of the team. So
Okay.
I guess each of us volunteers need to do that.
Because there's somebody in our sphere of influence, I'm thinking of two now that I know has been online for a while now, that came from me posting on Facebook, and I didn't even realize that one of them was on a regular basis. And I've touched base with them just a couple times and haven't been able to be as faithful about it since I'm not here all the time now. But there's somebody in our sphere of influence that you discipled, that you've mentored, that you've encouraged in your life. Well, they could at least do slides. They could do chat. You know, that would be, and they're on all the time. You know, I think of people that are on at 5 o'clock. There's a couple that's on all the time at 5 o'clock. Let's pull them in. We need them online, you know. I mean, if they're there all the time anyway, let's pull them in and let's see what
And that's,
God
that
does
for me
with
is
that.
the,
Yeah.
is the indicators. When you start to see patterns, the people that regularly come anyway, like, it's like, okay,
And not that there's anything wrong with advertising it and bulletins or whatever, but you will get somebody that we don't know where they are spiritually.
Totally
And
get
we're
that.
holding little people in the palm of our hands, you know, in this situation. I mean, we deal with some tough issues online sometimes.
Yep.
Are they spiritually ready for that? Or is this a group that needs to be within, like a corporation? Okay, you're ready to go now, let's go. Okay, come on along.
Well, I know a couple of them have now started coming to church here.
Mhm.
They got started online, and they're not online anymore. They're coming to church.
But what would happen if somebody went up to them because they knew they're online, said, dude, we miss you online and we need your help?
Well,
I don't know.
they're growing now. They're
Well,
growing. They've come to church.
yeah.
They've gotten baptized. They're getting into life groups. I mean,
yeah,
It's a
all of
growing
those
part
things.
too.
are important in their
Yeah.
journey.
And I don't want to. I want to be open-handed with people and not to say, oh, you've ever come online more than 5 times because you got volunteer.
No.
It might be that, like what you said, if they showed up after coming online for a while, that's a win.
It is a win.
Because for us, it's not that they were just in our little department.
Happy,
Mhm.
yeah.
No, that's not the
Right,
point.
you know.
The point is to get everybody to love
Right.
Jesus, kind of like Sister Jesus. No
Exactly.
matter what that looks like, or what their calling is, or what they end up volunteering as, you know, whatever God is calling them to do, that's what I want them to do.
Well,
No.
and I was just thinking that maybe the next step, even if they're here, you know, we say serve one, attend one. Well, maybe their next step needs to be, instead of attending, serving in the children's ministry, maybe they want to attend church here, then go online and serve online. I mean, because that serve one, attend one includes the online
Yeah,
too.
sure does.
So, and because they came from the online, they have a passion, or they'll know how important it is and where it's brought them from. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, definitely it's progress. Get them into the building. That's great. Get them in the heart. But maybe they could reach out and turn around and reach back to the person or in the same spot they were. Maybe that would be that serve one, you know, that they're doing.
No easy answers, I know. It's just that
Right.
it
And there will always
it's
be that
tough
tension.
when you're the only one that shows
It
up.
is hard.
It's very,
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
difficult.
you need to.
That's what I'm looking forward to for 5 o'clock.
That's the part where I think you're absolutely right. Where we can run a thin crew, like 2 people, but if you're there by yourself, that's not.
And you get a prayer request.
That would be like, you know, if we have to take it, ratchet it down to say, okay, what is our irreducible minimum?
Like, I don't even have the notes that you start out with the chat with. I don't have any of that.
Oh, see, I think we should add that into the volunteer. You, like your little welcome
Yeah, I don't
speech
have that.
thing, that's
Oh, okay.
always super
Yeah, I can do
happy.
that.
I think that needs to be added
Copy and
into
paste it in there.
the volunteer, like with all
The
the other
volunteer
Prairie
area.
Ninja stuff
Yeah, that's a
in
good
that
idea.
little window.
I can do that easy.
For a new level of something else, if we get down to, like you said, a 15-minute thing, if we would do, switching gears now, guys, if we did a 15-minute thing,
Mhm.
going back to the translation for the
Oh,
different.
boy.
He loves me.
You're wanting a technology that doesn't exist yet.
Okay, hold on,
So
hold on.
I would love to really push for, holograms and all that kind of stuff.
Hold on. Breathe. Hold on. What if, because 15 minutes isn't that much text. I mean, it isn't that much text. If someone could go in and type what someone was saying and put it on the chat through at least the important points, at least the notes, the points,
See,
put it on the side there.
in
have
a
it-
different
And put
language.
it, no, in English, because they can push the button and it'll translate.
But we have those notes.
But
Already.
are they there posted for them? But they're not in the chat box where you can push for translation.
We do that manually. All of our chat artists now
Yeah.
copy the notes in
right.
the chat.
That's what I
I'm
know that.
just curious.
Okay. Is
That's
there a
what I'm
way,
trying to
like we're
understand.
automatic, I know, I'm thinking out of the box here because I don't even know how you do this, but how we automatically, over here on the screen, we have a little service, could automatically over on the screen, the notes come up without someone having to be there to put them in.
Okay, so what you're saying is like a slide.
Auto
That the
slide.
people,
An
like,
auto
people
slide.
could do it themselves or something like
So
that.
what you're asking is for an auto slide on the semi-live service to have the notes presented.
Yeah.
We already
Because-
have that. Like it's in the note box.
No, but will it come up on the chat box
She's
where they
talking
can
about
push the button for the
Oh.
translation? It's a translation thing.
Yeah. Translation.
She loves that blasted translation thing.
There isn't
Okay.
right now.
I'm just throwing out there things that we're
Without-
training and what.
Without a volunteer going in there,
Okay.
because there's
Is
it's
there
a
a
timing
way?
thing too. Because if you've ever done closed captioning, you have to put in time code in there.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, he says this at this time. in the
Right.
video. So it all syncs up.
I understand.
It's
But it wouldn't be that big
not
of an
true.
importance. I mean, if it's a little off for a person who can't understand English anyway, it's not the end of the world. And okay, and then let's think of part B. Now switch. Could you put the translation button over there in the notes section so people do click on the notes? They can push translate and it would translate for
oh
them.
no, that's a good idea.
See?
That is a good idea.
That's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That would
I
be
know.
something to
Oh.
talk to the
See?
Church
You could do
online
that. See, and then we would just have a little note somewhere that says, notes, push this button, and although they couldn't read it because they can't read English, but maybe maybe we could automatically have something go up in the chat box if there's nobody online that just says for notes push.
No, I already got it figured out.
That's there.
I already
Okay.
got it figured
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
So when you're on the notes tab,
Mhm.
you have the drop down in the chat.
Mhm.
Just put the drop down in the notes area too,
Okay.
so that it does its machine translation. The trick is the machine translation, because none of us know 60 languages.
Right. No, I understand.
So,
We can't like actually say, oh, this is the correct translation.
but that would be super helpful to in the notes have the notes translated.
And it doesn't have to be the ones that have the blank. It can be the completed ones. The ones that we have from the volunteers.
There you go for the simulcast, the semi-live, whatever you call it.
I mean, filling in the blank is not the end of the world, but they're not able to
Right.
hear
Yeah,
the
because
message
I don't
and
think.
understand it.
Yeah, I think if we're
What's
not
the gist
on,
of it?
like we're not on live, I think we need the full notes on
Right.
there, so that but they can put the translation button, and something from the chat box takes them to the translation box
Well,
from the
chat
note
is-
box that tells them that they can translate it.
The
That's fine, I'm just saying that I don't know how it works.
The chat is non-existent. That
Oh,
gets
okay.
shut off.
Then send a note down at the bottom of the page or something.
No, it's like
Whatever.
it just shoots you right to the
It goes directly to the notes.
notes.
Okay.
So it's already open.
Good.
It's already there.
open.
It's already
It doesn't have the
happy.
drop down. That's what it needs. It needs the drop down for language for the notes. And then it's like, okay, we just fixed it for everybody. That would be pretty sweet.
Say no.
I'm excited.
She should not be happy.
I'm excited.
Then after you figure that out, can you get an edit thing so we can correct when you type something?
Oh, yeah, can we edit?
Amen.
Lord knows how many times I misspelled a word, Jason.
Well,
We
you
need
can
to do
delete
it.
your own
After it's in the chat, after it's up
after
there.
you've already posted it. There's those little 3 dots on the side.
Right.
It's been there for about 3 or 4 months now. Or before you had to mute somebody and all of their interactions recursively got deleted out of the chat. Now you can go in there and delete individual ones. If you have the rights to do that, you do because you're an agent. You can delete your own.
Okay.
So if you screwed it up,
Delete it and
But
reset.
it won't look
Delete it
bad
and
on
reset
me? It's not like the ATM, if you mess it up 3 times, it won't let you do it anymore?
just be careful which one you're
Deleting.
clicking so you don't mute yourself.
I know.
Because
And you're screwed.
Because we can't figure out
Somebody muted me
right.
that way. All right, I'm taking a hint here.
That's awesome. Good stuff. Good stuff.
So, Kim and Alan are going to the iMinistry conference.
Yay!
So, yeah, I'm super excited.
I'm super happy that they're going.
Awesome.
She's very excited about that. She's been wanting to go for a while.
I know.
I'm super
It's
glad
gonna
that they're
be
able
good.
to.
It's gonna be really good. I was gonna say we got Slide Ruler, and in addition to the Prayer Ninja trainings
Mhm.
in right now, training library. So for Slide Rulers, I'll have something. I think I did chat artist too. Chat artist, Slide Ruler, and
We'll
in
sit
addition
down.
to, yeah,
Where is that?
Yeah, that's what I'm
doing the
asking.
Right Now Media.
Oh, and like Right Now Media. So we have to
Right,
get
so
them an
it's
account
the-
for that too.
They do that.
Maybe that's something we need to do.
Can we put them on YouTube? Something that no one has to have an account for. Please.
Well, we could.
I like that idea.
The trick for that is that you have no way of knowing whether or not they actually looked at it or not.
Ah, I see the kind.
That's
Okay,
the trick.
so I have to sign them up for the online campus. Like a very new person who's never stepped in the online campus before. They have to sign up for the online campus. They have to sign up for the My West Side, and they're also going to have to sign up for the Right Now Media. That's the
I
things
would
that
want
they're
them
going to.
to, no, I know it's a pain. I get it.
They
But
need
I want
those
them to have
keys.
access
Yeah.
to that right now. So.
Yeah, they need
Well,
that.
but that's what I'm
and
saying.
then that also allows them to be invested into it, and allows the churches invested into it.
Right.
It would just
But-
put them on the spot.
Can be
But
overwhelming.
my thing is
It's
though, the
overwhelming.
very first email that I send them is like, well, thanks for coming, blah, 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 blah. Jason told me that you're interested in it. So glad, happy that you're here. We're gonna start you out with the chatters. Do the little doobly doo of chat artist issiness or whatever it is, whatever. And then like it's like, oh, if you don't have your username, then go here, fill in the information there. If you don't have this, fill in the information there. And so I just feel like it's like,
Overwhelming. And almost like,
For something new.
I can't do this.
Yeah.
Forget it.
yeah.
So for
I don't wanna
starting
do
out,
this.
it's
This is too
like-
hard.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like this, like.
Yeah, and we can. If you feel like that it's too much,
Like, I want them to have the Right Now, too. I think it's an awesome idea thing. Unless if we just have, like, a general one that we just create for them so that all they have to do is put in the username and password, and then they change all that in their happiness. Does that make sense?
Makes
you
sense to
lost
me.
What she's saying is give them Westside Family, give them a password, give them a login thing
That's generic.
that's generic that they would go into, and then they can change it on their own if they want to. Their password, change it.
Like just
See what
like
I'm saying?
random
Oh,
file
okay.
numbers.
So it's just a random, so go here and password and log in for this
Right.
and
So
watch
it's-
this.
So
And then
it's not
like
another
continue,
form.
and then they're techy enough, if they want to continue to use it, they'll figure
Okay.
that out.
The only problem is you can give somebody access to my website. There's a lot of information. I mean, I brought mine up. It's got my name, my address, my phone number, my email. It's got
But
all
like
that
one
information
that's
on there.
for them
For right now.
for right now. It just like for them that has, because we have their email address. We can create them a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 password. And so it's one less form for them to have to fill out.
She's saying they'll have to sign up for
I-
the website,
yeah.
but not the Right Now Media.
The other thing though is if she sends them an email and she has links to a YouTube video, boom, it's all done in one email.
There you go. Granted, we don't know if they've watched it or not, but if they don't ever email me back, we know that they never really did anything anyways.
Right.
She
I
did,
can follow
and if you're
up
just
on
talking
you
about
to have
chat,
all those extra.
We can
Or
try
just
it.
like
I mean,
side
all of those
scrolling or
videos
whatever.
are on YouTube.
if you're talking
Because
about,
that's how I got them into Right Now Media,
Well,
was through YouTube. So if you want, you can just go into the training section and just scrape the links out. And there you go.
and I think do we only contact them once then after that? Once they make the initial, I'd like to start, and Amy sends
Well,
them the one thing, and
Jason-
then that's it?
Normally forwards it to me or sends them
Okay.
something, and then I.
So how many contacts are we making with these new people?
About 30.
Okay. And then would it be a good idea to whoever is going to be who's the person, what do we call it again? I forgot. The lead experience. Say,
No, like Jedi Padawan kind of thing. Who's going to mentor you?
no.
Experienced captain.
Yeah, experienced captain. Whatever service they're plugged into for experienced captain, then would it be a good idea for him to say, hey, you're going to have a new slide ruler this week. Why don't you let them know how they're doing, encourage them, whatever. And then that experienced captain can say, hey, you did a great job. Thanks for being on the team, X, Y, and Z.
Every week though.
And I could be wrong.
Most of the time,
Like Jolene is always the 5 o'clock.
yeah, there's some people who are, and then there's, at the 9:45 and the 11,
Right.
Boyd and, the Campbell.
Right. So, but just my point is, again, she was saying just to pull them in. Again, letting them make them feel welcome. They're awesome. They're amazing. They think they're great. Because, a lot of us here in this core group, we're here. It's what we do. It's what God's called us to do. We're going to be here for the thing. But for a newbie, they need to be knowing, hey, you're awesome. You're great. You did a great job. And just maybe that follow-up. Just know.
Yep.
That's that whole email thing. If you just send them the slide rule, if that's what they're going to start out at, because you don't want to overwhelm them with sending them all the videos at one time.
Right, yeah. Just
So just
one.
send them the slide rule and then make it, if they want to move on to something else,
Let us know.
go and put Right Now Media at that point.
Yeah, that's
And
a
then-
good
And then I always have
idea.
my
Yeah,
number
later.
there, that if
Yeah.
they have any technical issues, they can always call me.
Well, see, and then that's where it goes back to the experienced captain. Once they do the slide rule, once they're in their experienced captain's team, then that experienced captain can say, hey, Jason, I think it's time we move on up to chat, or we move them on up to prayer. I really think they would be good at that. And so then it goes back to, moving them on.
Because I really
Encouraging
think
them in
that
their walk.
because I'm not
Right.
in that certain service.
So
I'm
are we
not really
missing them?
learning.
Are we sticking them in the slide rule, and then are we moving them on if they're ever ready for that?
There's a slight
know.
chance.
Because
Well,
with
it's
you two
possible.
not being in there,
It's
with then the
possible.
experienced captain
The thing
can
is-
take that and move them on.
Yeah, it's possible.
I'm just throwing some ideas out there. Scenarios.
Most of the time, they want to be printed just so they bug me about it.
Okay.
So,
Not me.
they're-
I just want to be clear on that.
no,
It's
you-
so-
Not I.
no. Years.
What? Jolene's not going to be there. Okay, I'll learn.
I have to.
Amy's scared to say a word online still.
I'm going to
Just like you organize everything behind the scenes.
I'll push that slide real quick.
But that's why God's given us all giftings.
Right.
If we
That's
all
right.
wanted to be experienced captains, this team wouldn't work.
That's right.
So it's okay, not one, it takes them all to make the world go round. Not one's greater than or less than.
Right.
It's all important.
Well, we're talking about fixing something
Oh,
on my website. In search, you start typing, you can't see what you typed.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's an awesome feature.
that kind of password clear kind of thing.
Is that,
Somebody didn't
different?
change the color of font.
but does it work? Oh,
It works.
it's in there.
It's, you just can't tell what it was, because I was trying to bring up the shape thing for someone. I'm typing and I'm thinking, okay, there's nothing's there. But when you
Once you get here, it does.
know you typed it right, if you did, you just have to hooray that you hit it right, and then you're there. Yeah, because I mean, search shows up just fine.
Mhm.
Not.
Yeah. Okay.
Those little things.
I was pulling my hair out. Well, we can find the shape thing just as easy as nothing. We'll just put in search and, oh, wait a minute. Maybe not.
I think that's an awesome feature.
I think it's awesome.
I'm gonna see if that does it here.
I think it's a great feature. I think we should put it on everything.
So, I'm sorry to taking us off.
Google, make a whiteboarding on the
Keep there,
whiteboard.
No, it's funny. No one's told me that. And we've had that for what, years?
They probably thought that it was
No,
supposed to be like
No one
that.
has ever said boo about it.
I have been frustrated with it before,
Uh-huh.
and I
Yeah.
send, who did I send an email to? Because I don't know, are you the man that's in charge of everything that's online?
Well, almost.
So I should have
Almost.
Now
sent,
you know.
I should have sent it to you. It was, when I'm just by myself, I can usually figure out how to do it. It was just
Right.
embarrassing when I was trying to help somebody
That's
who thought I knew what I was
Okay, so-
doing.
Well, you did.
Sure enough.
Did they get their shape?
That is
Yeah, I got her to the
There you
right site.
go. There we go.
I also noticed that some of the search results were pulling up orphan pages, which we need to fix too. That's a separate issue.
Always something. Job security.
Yeah.
Jason's
Tell
job
me about
security.
Tell me about it. Okay. Well, I didn't have anything else to talk about.
Okay.
Take a message.
So what decisions did we make today then? You're gonna put the stuff up from YouTube? Or then,
I'm gonna put that down in my email.
right, okay, and you have access to that, so you know how to get
It's
to
on
it.
YouTube.
So you're good to
So
go.
I can find it one way or
And then are you gonna
another.
put something
I'll
in
use
the
the little
bulletin?
search bar.
Are you able to put something in the bulletin?
Can we put something in the Facebook group?
Yeah, we
I can
do
do
the
that
Facebook group.
easy enough. I'll be glad to
Yeah,
put
the
something in the
Facebook
Facebook
group is
group.
really a better place to do it. And one of the things that,
Can we get a slide too?
Hmm?
Can we get a slide?
Slide
we have a
for
slide that
volunteers
says
on the
Facebook
Facebook.
group. Can we throw a slide in there?
oh, a slide. Yeah, we could do that.
And create pictures.
Put it on the Facebook.
You need volunteers.
Yeah, some sort of picture.
Like a
I've done
help
that.
wanting.
Yeah,
I have done that. It's been a while, but I have done that.
That's your job.
I can do that.
You're now in charge once a month at least, make sure.
I can do that.
Sorry.
That's all good. That's all good.
Back when she started talking to me. Like she never left.
Amy only says that after she's been with me for 3 days now.
How much painting do you have left?
Oh, 2.5 rooms.
I'm gonna drop her off at the soda now just so she can
Finish it up, huh?
I was telling her our schedule, and she's like, "No. So when are you leaving?" Oh, Dad, to make sure it's coming back for you.
We have homework to
I
do.
think she
so,
likes
right?
this whole independent, being on her own thing. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure she does.
One of the things that happened to me, if it
I
happened
love
to you,
it.
it was like, I have so much more time.
I'm just so happy. Like it's beautiful. I can think on my own.
I can make my own decisions.
Yes.
Mom, be prepared. The sophomore will not home for the summer.
Yeah, I'm confident of that.
I'll pick
I
the
knew
ticket.
that one wasn't coming anyway.
No, she's gone.
So
That's
Johnson
okay.
Community is good for you?
I love it.
Good.
She's doing awesome.
Good.
So got to
That's
be
so
on my
blessed.
last test.
Good.
Got like an A on my paper thing I sent them.
And what are you majoring? Have you decided?
Graphic design.
Okay.
I may try to double and do an interior design as well.
Graphic design, and what we do with that?
Anything really. Like it's pretty.
Design web pages or?
You can, depending on what avenue you go into it. So you can just do like more of the print side of it.
Is that where
So-
you're?
No,
No.
I haven't decided what exactly.
Oh.
It's probably going to be more computer basic than like paper base. Because I can't draw with a hoop. And so hopefully.
Well, there's lots of demand for that. I know my daughter was going crazy till she finally found somebody just to design the their kits for this cycling.
Oh, right.
You know, graphic artists do that.
Yeah.
Came through a nose.
She's so good with decorating, you know,
Cool. Same
ordering,
stuff.
you know, that kind of
Awesome.
stuff. She sees it, she can put it together. She's got that eye, so and then she's got the techie side of it too. So
Jason, what do we need to do for you? Anything?
Just pray.
Anything special going on that we need to zero in on or?
It's doing okay. I mean, they switched it to 5 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which makes it awkward for me to go in, like if I'm hosting like today, I have to be in Bonner at 3 and leave at 3:30 so that I can be here at 4 for sound check. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So what's happened is basically the group is going well, but my participation in the group as of this week is it's not going to be nearly as much as it was before. And I'm okay with that.
But you'll be back at the 5 o'clock service now.
Yes.
Okay, because you haven't been.
Right.
tonight.
Right. And so there's a good part and a bad part to that. So the nice thing is that I'm back for the 5, but if I'm hosting, it's one of those scenarios where on the front end of the service I'm not going to be. It's I'm finding that I'm able to now. Before it was just like, oh, I gotta host, you know, I get all anxious about it and just focus in on that. And now it's got kind of a rhythm to it, so I've figured out how I can do that and be a part of the online campus when needed. Especially since the team, one of the nice things about the team, even though we have we don't have as many volunteers as we would like. The volunteers that we do have are stable and they know what they're doing.
Stable. Would you use that word with any of us?
They know what they're doing. I mean, so you guys,
Oh,
you guys know what you're doing. If something blows up, you guys aren't going to freak out.
Jason,
You give me a call.
Every
I
time.
will.
Every
I
time.
will-
where are you, Jason? You just don't see us freak out anymore, Jason.
Oh, maybe that's
You
it.
that online pastor, where are you?
Oh, I did like that.
Take a nice little steam paper sack.
We learned to slow down. You're talking. You're visiting with Steve. Get over here. Quit fellowshipping.
Well, that's the other thing too. I mean, you got all of these
You
people that
cannot
they'll
go in
grab
the
me.
back room. You cannot leave the back area. You
They
may
will
have
grab
time.
me, and then you know, praying with them and all that kind of stuff. So it's like this thing that
We've got
happens.
20,000 people online. Way more important than that one person that's grabbing.
Who's so wanted Jesus in the sky?
Sometimes I feel bad because I'll be in the online zone when I'm like walking around, and people say hi, and I can tell that they kind of want to talk, and I'll just be like, and I feel bad because I don't know how I feel about it because there are aspects of it that make a lot of sense that I need to, you know, attend to the big stuff that's happening online, but then people here, they don't understand that, and I don't expect them to, and that's okay.
I think that though in a leadership position, that's anyone's situation, and you just have to remember what John F. Kennedy told, what's his wife? Kennedy? Jackie? Yeah, Jackie. When she's shaking hands with somebody, just be totally present with them at the moment. Just be with them. So if you can't do the, if you got to do the online, stay in the online area where no one else can see you. So you can't, I mean, it's seriously like out here because you would, oh my, yeah. So just, it's the presence. It's got to be present with whatever. I mean, I still find that. Shoot, I don't deal with half of what you do. So just, it's so hard. Being present.
Can't be all for everybody.
And then if you could pray for the adjustments that our family's having with Isaac homeschooling, which is going really well. But they're just adjustments. I would like for there to be a time, sometime during but no, that's not true.
That's called date night.
No, it is.
Uh-huh.
But we've had date night, but I don't like only having her once a week. That's the problem.
You're having to share it now.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not nice.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy that.
Talk to Jeffrey. He's had to do it for
It's
30
just like,
years.
dude, can you go in your room or something? He's out. I mean, he's doing great. He's studious, doing his thing. He's out in the living room and everything. And then, I'm just like, I walk through the living room and I want to talk to Maria. And I'm just like, I'll have to wait till Tuesday. Because it's just, it's those sorts of things.
Mhm.
It's not anything major, but it's just one of those deals.
Adjustments.
It's just, adjustment.
New normal.
And homeschooling was because you didn't like school, or you
Well,
just felt
it
you
was-
needed that year of
It was a combination of things. One, he felt like he wasn't able to excel like he wanted to because the teacher spent all the time, this is his words, and I've seen it. The teacher spent all the time, trying to control the class instead of teach. And so he felt like he wanted to excel, and he's stuck. He told me, he's like, I'm stuck with all of these kids that are bringing the tour and cutting up, and the teacher can't teach, and I want to learn something, and and then they're teasing me because I want to learn, and it's just like I want to be in, he said, I want to be in control of my education. I've got these things that I want to do, and all these morons in my class are keeping me from doing that, and so it's like, okay, well, if he's thinking that way, then we'll give it a try. It's like, all right, we'll give it a try. That was part of it. Here's the other piece of it. We had Brianna, who wasn't getting any good grades and was having all types of behavioral issues in school and with us at home. And so it was like, you shape up this year, you're going to be homeschooled kind of thing. And so we really feel like that she has the opportunity, because she's a social type person, probably not the best fit for homeschool scenario. But doing it with Isaac was going to be super easy because he's so self-motivated that Maria was like, hey, we'll do it with Isaac since he wants to anyway. We'll do this. It'll be easy. I can understand it, figure it out. And then if we bring Brianna on next year, I'll be ready. And she'll have that gauntlet on top of her too, watching her brother do homeschool, and she knows that at any given moment, if I, mess up, boom, I'm stuck at home too.
Homeschooling is not a punishment.
No, I know it's not. But we all know it's not. But she views it that way.
would consider it that
She
way.
views it that way, at least right now.
Right.
And so the only thing she's thinking about is, she just wants to be with all her friends.
Mm-hmm.
Which the social side of her, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just keeping her from doing the most important thing.
Right.
So, anyway,
Helps her keep a balance of, if I want my socialization, I need to get my education.
right, yeah,
So, I got to keep this going, or else I'm going to have to just focus on only education.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had that
Well,
conversation.
but then going back to that, homeschoolers have been tested that they are better socialized than the public school students. Because there's nowhere else in the world that you stick all the 5th graders and all the 6th graders together and they do the same thing. I mean, all the 40-year-olds aren't postmen and all the 50-year-olds aren't doctors. I mean, that's the only place we stick everybody of the same age to sit in the same room together to learn the same bad habits. You know.
Oh, I see what you mean.
See what I'm saying? That's not real socialization. Homeschoolers have grandmas involved, parents are involved in their lives. The parents are their peers. Therefore, they're better socialized with being able to deal
They're
with
better to socialize with adults.
or any age
Oh, yeah.
around them, because they're not just stuck in one age
Because
group.
most homeschools have multiple children, and so you have all different ages there for them to interact with.
That wasn't true for you, was it?
Well, she had a brother,
I had
brother.
Chad.
and she had
Yeah. Graduate.
all of my kids have homeschooled. Chad and Amy's never went to public school.
So we're still learning and adjusting. But Isaac is doing wonderfully. He is really flourishing. He's like, this is great. He's just doing really well. And just for Maria and I, just watching him have this whole transformation, it's just like, okay, he made the right decision. It's just good. So, you know, it is more work and all of that stuff that goes with it. But it's, and one of the nice things too with some of the changes we're making right now with giving Rebecca and stuff is that he's getting a good Bible curriculum along with his schooling and all the stuff is coming from a Christian perspective too. So I don't feel like I have to compensate for what he's getting at school
Because it's all.
because it's all there. It's just like, okay, yeah. So I'm actually doing more work overall as far as, you know, teaching my kids, but I'm not having to compensate from a spiritual perspective to counteract some of the other time that we're dealing with. So,
And when you think about it, when some of the, especially in high school, they start covering home 4, 5, 6 hours worth of work, homework. And, you know, after
at the end of the day,
at the end of the day,
I'm homeschooling anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of the day, and honestly, homeschooling will take less time, and you get it all done than the whole homework that they would send you afterwards.
Because they spent all the class time trying to,
Keep the
you know,
kids
keep
quiet.
their class,
Mhm,
you know, organized. They send them home with homework.
mhm,
So I have to homeschool them.
mhm.
Anyway, so it's just one of those scenarios where it's just like, yeah, this is completely inefficient.
You're still doing your business?
Yeah, I'm still doing my business.
Okay.
So I'm trying to keep it to just Fridays, though.
Oh, okay.
You know, on occasion, I will do like an evening or something like that, but yeah, trying to keep it that way, just contained, because it can very easily take over.
Okay.
And with all my other responsibilities, you know, I would be making more money if I probably lose in the long run. No, I would lose in the long run, and I know that. So I'm just trying to keep it, do my thing
Are you?
on Fridays, maybe a Saturday, maybe an evening here and there, but just basically keep it to Friday. And so far, it's been working out. So that's kind of
How does Maria get all of her photography in? I mean, she's homeschooling. You two trade off.
we trade off a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of the things too that she does is most of the shoots occur either at the golden hour in the morning or in the evening. So, and she hates mornings, so most of the time it's just evening. So what that means is
It's
that I'm
2 o'clock.
home and she goes, and she'll shoot for an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever, and then come back and then edit. And when she edits, which is the vast majority of the work that she does. I mean, of a given shoot, she'll spend, because she artistically, like, and retouches every shot that she does, that she gives back to the client. So that takes way more time than the actual shoot. So, but she can do that at home. So she's at home and she's on her computer, you know, doing retouches and stuff like that, you know.
Answering lots of questions.
Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
that's basically what's going on. Low battery. All right. Maybe that's a thing that we need to stop.
Sleep soon.
Okay.
We didn't have anybody online anyway, right?
No, we're just saving this for the folks who couldn't show up. Like Jolene would watch this later.
Okay.
This gets posted to the online campus team Facebook page, and all that stuff gets posted so that people can watch it later.
This
So, hi guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Everything that you've said here has been recorded.
Good.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking earlier. Who plays with this?
if they want to stick around, they can. I mean, whatever. I know that.
Overshot that 15 minutes.
Probably.
Totally, yes, yes.
It's the view from West Side.
Right, we could totally do the view.
We could totally
wanted
do the view.
to,
We could do.
we could do that.
See, we could do something similar like that. For
That would
a
work.
15-minute thing.
We could,
Yeah.
I mean, there's even like when we do Churches Left the Building, be thinking of ideas of what we could do, because I've already been asked, okay, we're going to do Churches Left the Building, kind of like how we did last year,
At Christmas.
which I thought was just knocked it out of the park. It was really, really well done.
Mhm.
And
That conversation between you and Dan.
yes. Mhm. But then we had all these other videos that we added, like Jolene's baptism video.
Right.
That was really cool. One of the things that I want us to think through is what we could do from an online perspective. Like, I don't know, I've always kind of dreamed of doing like this choir kind of thing, you know, like the virtual choir idea where everybody's kind of singing.
I think what would add a wonderful layer for Christmas time.
Oh, the snow! Please, yeah.
If we find snow somewhere,
Oh, my
I
word.
think that would be perfect. Just little snow.
Oh, my word.
I think
Like
it should
a
be
little
meet, I think it
snow,
should
West
be
Side Snow.
meet your experienced captains and online campus team.
Well, we could do that. We could do
Put a
that.
face to some of that.
Mhm.
So I don't want my snow.
You have snow.
Every year we try. Every single year. No, I spend
Yes, Meg, for
my time. I spend
I don't know.
like 8 hours trying to figure it out.
We did something the other day
I don't
that
know
had
what you
snow in it. And I sent it to Amy. Amy, here's your snow. And it was
Priorities.
actually a
Priorities.
Right.
Priorities.
Exactly.
Every year.
Hey, I think people love
How do
I
they
think
new
people-
volunteers?
We're gonna
that
put
wanna
a
sit?
poll.
Hey, if
On
they
the
saw
online
snow, they
campus
would want to be volunteer.
These are bold.
Beautiful.
Oh, for snow? You want to see snow for Christmas? Are we talking about virtual or real? Real snow.
Some virtual snow
Okay.
next year on the online campus.
I would like it to be a nice 60 degrees for Christmas. Yeah.
Do a beach thing.
I think I'll be about 74.
60 will allow me to chill.
Arizona's about 74 then.
I gotta be able to heat up my house with candles.
Oh, I got to talk to you about that too.
Okay.
So is there anything else that you guys want us to pray?
Thought we can get snow for Christmas, especially on the online campus.
All right.
Mature request.
Actually,
God, honestly, we know there are things that are really
We just mean
important.
virtual, not real snow, virtual.
I do like kind of the thought of kind of a roundtable view kind of discussion maybe for that 15 minutes, so that might actually work every once in a while.
But for our online group,
No, you're talking about Churches Left the Building thing?
Yeah. Or anything in trying to condense
Something.
that. Yeah. I think that would be a nice little thing.
Or the 15-minute thing that she was talking about.
Yeah.
Talk about what the sermon was about.
Maybe if you do a little 15-minute afterwards, maybe you have like a 15-minute service. We'll chat afterwards.
Okay. So what if, and this kind of goes back to some of,
I'm sorry, I'm just keeping you here longer and stuff.
no.
we're going back to some ideas that we did way back in the day,
Yeah,
the
we
first
did that.
year, where we did a little bit. And it's weird because I tried a lot of things and they didn't seem to pan out very well. And some things I'm finding now, 3 years later, we try them and now they work.
Mhm.
When it was just a sense of timing that our folks weren't ready for it yet.
Mhm.
And so it might be something that we could do. It wouldn't be,
Well, you know
5-minute
what?
intro.
You know why it would be cool? Because now you can go on TV and you can watch the TV show. Then you can go online and see what happened afterwards. You see,
Oh, yeah,
people
right.
mentally are there.
It will say go to ABC.
Yeah, go to ABC,
Now.
whatever, say now or whatever, and you go afterwards, especially the reality shows and stuff like that, or the talk shows where they've had a date, and then you want to see what they did afterwards. So the mindset of the people are, oh, I want more,
Mhm.
and so I can go there. And if you were able to do it separately, not necessarily just connected to, you know what I'm saying, then
so if the way I'm just trying to figure out the best way to pull that off
Mhm.
if we had a slide at the end of the service that says,
For
join the
more.
discussion,
Mhm.
click here, and it takes you to Google Hangout like we've got running right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could, yeah. Or you could just do a video YouTube already done of what did you think about what was said, how did we do that, and we're just talking. I mean,
Mhm.
some of them could just be already pre-recorded.
So therefore, like, for like the earlier services, because 5 o'clock we have tons of leeway at the end of it, but all our other services where we have another service right next to it, and we really can't have like a special little hangout for that to be live, because we have another service that's
Right.
starting.
Yeah.
And the whole YouTube thing of it just being a YouTube link that would have you and Pastor Dan or you whoever's speaking
Go ahead. You're my friend, idea. Go ahead.
talking about more about what the sermon was, then that's something that we always have. And
And then what if they could, at the end of the 5 o'clock or at some point somewhere, they could send in questions that they had about what was spoke on for the sermon, for the pastor to answer, or just somebody to
And
answer.
then say, then you can ask if the pastor who's had a really long day, make it longer.
Well, I mean, you're talking 10 minutes, 15 minutes or something like that.